I love this. Jamar Chase just made some strong comments after the Bengals' 2-2 start, and what he said could shape how this team fights through the rest of the 2025 season. Today, we're breaking down what Chase said, why it matters, and what it reveals about where this Bengals squad really stands right now. Before we jump into the latest Bengals news, make sure to subscribe, like, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss future updates. We drop fresh Bengals stories every week, and you'll want to be first in line when new news hits. Now, let's move on. The Bengals are sitting at 2-2, and without Joe Burrow on the field, things have looked shaky. You can feel the frustration. The timing's off, the rhythm's gone, and the locker room knows it. Chase didn't hold back when he spoke about accountability and energy, two things this team desperately needs to keep their playoff hopes alive. Chase's words weren't just frustration, they were a challenge. A message to his teammates and coaches alike: step up, lock in, and bring back that hunger. Because if the Bengals don't find their edge soon, this season could slip away fast. Everyone can see it. The Bengals' offense just isn't clicking. That's the shocker. This team was built to light up scoreboards, but right now, it's the offense that's stalling. Last year, the defense caught most of the criticism for being inconsistent, for giving up late drives that cost them close games. This season, though, the problems run deeper. From offense to special teams, it's been uneven all around. So what's wrong? What needs fixing? Truth is, there's no single answer. The offense looks unsure, the defense shows flashes but can't sustain them, and special teams have had their moments of frustration too. It's a full team issue, a lack of rhythm, focus, and urgency. And that's exactly what Jamar Chase is talking about. He's not just frustrated, he's stepping up as a voice in the locker room. With Joe Burrow sidelined for what could be months, Chase is trying to fill that leadership gap. His message? Play with heart. Play with edge. In his own words, I want guys to play with passion. I want them to play with anger because you never know how guys may respond. I told my guys after the game, play with more fire and anger. That's the kind of attitude the Bengals need right now. Not just strategy, not just execution, emotion. Chase is setting the tone. If the Bengals want to keep their season alive, they've got to play like a team with something to prove. Usually, Jamar Chase isn't the loudest voice in the room. That role has always belonged to Joe Burrow or Zach Taylor, the calm leaders who handle the cameras and the press conferences. But with Burrow out, someone had to fill that silence, and Chase is finally stepping into it. And honestly, that's exactly what this team needs. They've been flat, no spark, no urgency. Chase calling that out isn't just leadership, it's accountability. The Bengals have been outscored 76-13 over their last two games. That's not just bad, it's shocking for a team built on offensive firepower. This isn't the Bengals we're used to seeing. The chemistry looks off, the energy's missing, and the frustration is showing. Chase's voice might be the wake-up call the locker room needs, a reminder that talent alone doesn't win games. Grit does. If the Bengals are going to turn this around, it has to start with fire, the kind Chase is demanding. Right now, it feels like the Bengals are standing in the middle of a perfect storm. Everything that could go wrong has gone wrong. Sitting at 2-2, they're not out of the race yet, but this is the turning point. It's do or die. The frustration is real, not just inside the locker room, but among fans too. Without Joe Burrow, the Bengals look like a team searching for direction. The energy's missing, the body language tells the story, and fans can feel it. They're not seeing that trademark Cincinnati fight, that spark that carried this team through tough games in past seasons. Those blowout losses to Minnesota and Denver were especially painful to watch. Not just because of the score, but because of the lack of emotion. The Bengals looked flat, like they were going through the motions instead of fighting for every yard. And that's what Jamar Chase is calling out. He's not just talking about effort, he's talking about pride. Because in the NFL, every Sunday is a test. You can get outplayed, sure, but you can't get outworked. The Bengals need to flip that switch now if they want this season to mean anything. This is the moment where they decide what kind of team they really are. At this point, it's simple, something has to change. And if Jamar Chase is the one who lights that spark, then let him. Because whatever they've been doing up to now clearly isn't working. The Bengals need a pulse, a jolt, something that reminds them who they are. They've become this year's surprise underdog, not because of lack of talent, but because of how far they've drifted from their identity. Now they face a huge test at home against the Detroit Lions, one of the most balanced, disciplined teams in the league. Detroit looks like everything Cincinnati was expected to be: tough on defense, efficient on offense, confident in every phase. That's what stings most for Bengals fans. Watching a team like Detroit execute the way Cincinnati used to. The Bengals were supposed to be that: sharp, fearless, relentless. But lately, they've been anything but. And here's where it gets even more telling. When you look at the Zac Taylor era without Joe Burrow, the numbers paint a clear picture. The offense loses rhythm, the confidence fades, and the spark that drives this team disappears. It's a pattern that can't continue if Cincinnati wants to stay in the playoff picture. This week isn't just another game, it's a gut check. The Bengals either rediscover their fire, or watch their season slip away. The numbers don't lie, and they're ugly. When you look at Zac Taylor's record without Joe Burrow, it's hard to ignore the pattern. Before Burrow arrived, the Bengals went 2-14, a season that set the stage for drafting their franchise quarterback. Then came Burrow's ACL injury, and without him, Cincinnati managed just 1-8. You could chalk that up to a rebuild, growing pains, whatever you want. But fast forward to 2023, after Burrow's wrist injury, 1-7. And now, in 2025, another 0-2 start without him. The story keeps repeating itself, and at some point, the excuses run out. This team simply isn't the same when Burrow isn't under center. That's reality. And now, with the Bengals sitting at 2-2 and the season teetering, Zac Taylor is under the microscope. The questions are getting louder. Can he adapt? Can he rally this group? Because here's the truth, this next stretch will define everything. Facing a complete team like Detroit, the Bengals don't have room for error. The players know it. The fans know it. The entire league knows it. It's time for someone, anyone, to step up, steady the ship, and reignite the fire that made this team special. If that doesn't happen soon, this season could slip away before it ever really starts. If the Bengals are going to turn this around, it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take time, a few tough weeks, a few gut checks, and a lot of belief. Without Joe Burrow, this team has to find a new way to win, a new identity to rally around. They still have the pieces. They still have the talent. The question is, do they have the mindset? That's where Marr Chase's leadership comes in. His fire, his honesty, that push for passion, that's exactly what this locker room has been missing. The Bengals might not look elite right now, but they're not out of it. 2-2 isn't a death sentence, it's a challenge. The real test starts here. Can this team fight through adversity and prove they're more than one player deep? Any given Sunday. Cliché feels tired until a team actually lives it, and that's what Cincinnati needs to do. Start small. Get gritty. Find momentum. Marr Chase is setting the tone. Now it's up to the rest of the Bengals to match that energy, and remind everyone why this team was built to compete. So, here's to the fight ahead. The season's still alive, but it's time to play like it.